the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 33, this House resolves to 1. To hold a morning sitting on Tuesday, 8th October 2024, commencing at 9 a.m. for the purposes of commencement of debate on the special motion on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. And 2, to sit until conclusion of the consideration of the special motion on the proposed removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, during the afternoon sitting of Tuesday, October 2024. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 9, procedural motion, suspension of a specified sitting.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and I beg to move that pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 28.4, calendar of the Assembly, this House resolves to suspend its sitting of Thursday, 3rd October 2024, so as to allow administrative arrangements necessary to facilitate the program for public participation on the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, just as my deputy has said, this motion is due for debate next week on Tuesday and was communicated by the Speaker yesterday afternoon or last evening. We are required to conduct public participation. Honorable Speaker, it's important to mention to members that the public participation we intend to do is public participation that is very granular, right from the polling station all the way to the county. And if members have seen, already the advertisement has been put in the dailies and it's there on the website, and members of the public can therefore access the venues where people will assemble in a very granular manner, right from the polling station to the ward level, to the constituency level. So members of parliament will need also to retreat to their constituencies and be able to inform their people accordingly, so that we make sure that everybody in every polling station is aware of the motion, the grounds of the motion, and they can give their say at the county headquarters. And I'm sure members of parliament, having been seasoned people in these matters of public participation, will enable their constituents right from the polling station to be able to give their views. There is also a memoranda that's already on the website, and again, you should be able to speak to your constituents and to be able to fill up that memoranda and send it to the addresses that have been indicated. With that, Honorable Speaker, it's therefore necessary that we retreat tomorrow and we don't have a sitting tomorrow afternoon as the norm is as per our calendar. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move, and I want to request the Honorable Farah Malim. I was going to say Mala Farim. Farah Malim to second.
My mic is not working. Which one? This one. Mr. Speaker, I can see the majority leader has moved a very, very important and a constitutional provision for us also to have the public participation. Public participation is provided for in our constitution. It is important because it's a first of its kind under the Constitution 210 of the Republic of Kenya, which is one of the most progressive constitutions in the world, not in Africa, not in the third world countries, but including the developed world also. Mr. Speaker, I second that, and I am hoping we will all go out back to our own constituents. We will inform them, we will sit down with them, we will listen to them, and public participation is going to be carried out as the Constitution has provided. Thank you. I second, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, sorry.
Yes. Thank you. Honorable members, I now propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 28.4, which is calendar of the Assembly, this House resolved to suspend its sitting of Thursday, 3rd October 2024, so as to allow administrative arrangements necessary to facilitate the program of public participation on the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. It's the mood of the House that we should put the question? Okay. Okay. Honorable members, I now put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 28.4, Calendar of the Assembly, this House resolved to suspend its sittings of Thursday, 3rd October 2024, so as to allow administrative arrangements necessary to facilitate the program for public participation on the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it.
Order number 10, procedural motion, limitation of debate on special motion under Articles 145 and 150 of the Constitution.
Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order number 97.1, and notwithstanding the resolution of the House on February 14th, 2024, this House orders that each speech in a debate on a special motion under Article 145 and Article 150 of the Constitution shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 60 minutes for the mover in moving the motion, and 30 minutes in reply, and a maximum of 5 minutes for any other member speaking, except, of course, the majority leader and the leader of minority, and the member seconding the motion, who shall be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes each. And that at least 2.5 hours before a vote is taken on the motion, the deputy president or the president, as the case may be, of course in this case is the deputy president, shall be accorded an opportunity to be heard in accordance with the Standing Order number 67B2 as a right to be heard. Honorable Speaker, going by the notice of motion that was tabled here yesterday by the move of this motion received overwhelming support of 291 signatures. That ideally means, Honorable Speaker, that members should be given adequate time to debate on this motion. Usually, of course, the House knows that we debate, each member gets about 10 minutes to speak on any motion. But because of the interest, the overwhelming interest across the political side, and with the 291 that support, and even the 53 or 54 who do not support, Honorable Speaker, the minority, they'll get that opportunity to articulate their issues on whether they support. Those who do not support, they'll also have their 5 minutes to support. You know, they arranged their thoughts within the 5 minutes. You articulate your issues within the 5 minutes. And also we give the mover 60 minutes so that he can actually place his grounds on the table without a hurry. 60 minutes, Honorable Speaker. And with 30 minutes right of reply. Honorable Speaker, for us this is clearly fair. And even to add on top, Honorable Speaker, we wish to move that the Deputy President is accorded an opportunity to be in this House and be heard. The proposal is 2 hours of defense in this floor, Honorable Speaker, without being interrupted, Honorable Speaker. So I beg to move, Honorable Speaker, that members arrange their thoughts within the allocated timeline and come in large numbers that very day, very early in the morning, to articulate their issues in support or in opposition, while opposing the motion, Honorable Speaker. So I beg to move, and I ask Honorable Sam Atandi to second.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as has been explained by the majority whip, this is a historical motion. And for some of us, we are lucky that we are going to witness and participating in the impeachment of the Deputy President. This is something which is very special, Madam Speaker. And I'm sure that, just like myself, all members of this House will be interested in giving a shot to this motion. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, we would like to request that everybody be given an opportunity. And so the motion that, the proposal that we have 5 minutes for members and 60 minutes for the mover is something which I would like to second, and I would like to appeal to members to support. Thank you. I support. I second. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable members, I now propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1 and notwithstanding the resolution of the House of February 14, 2024, this House orders that each speech in a debate on a special motion under Articles 145 and 150 of the Constitution shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 60 minutes for the mover in moving and 30 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 5 minutes each for any other member speaking, except for the Leader of Majority, the Leader of Minority Party, and the member seconding the motion, who shall be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes each, and that at least 2.5 hours before a vote is taken on the motion, the Deputy President, or President as the case may be, shall be accorded an opportunity to be heard in accordance with Standing Order 67B2. That is the right to be heard. Honorable members, may I propose the question? Let me put the question. Okay, honorable members, I now put the question. What's your point of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Immediately after.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just wanted some little bit of clarification. Because I've tried to do the, while I agree with the motion, Madam Speaker, I've tried to do the computation of the period. And I'm a bit, that's why I'm seeking your clarification, that the mover will have 1 hour, the seconder will have 30 minutes, the Leader of Majority and Minority will have 10 minutes each. So, the seconder will have 10
minutes. The
yes,
seconder will have 10 minutes.
So are we saying, therefore, Madam Speaker, that is it 2.5 hours maximum, including the time that the mover is moving, plus the Leader of Majority and the seconder, and that each one of us gets 5? We have a lot to say about this motion, Madam Speaker. And I am a bit disturbed that we have a lot to say about this motion, and I think 5 minutes and allotting the mover 1 hour, I think we can give the mover 40 minutes, so that we get time to say, and we have a lot to say about this motion.
Honorable Kamket, remember it will go on until the end of the day, which means it go up to midnight.
Then, in that case, Madam Speaker, I propose that 5 minutes is too short for us. We have a lot to say. We have a lot, and I can assure you.
I think, Honorable Kamket, you have been overruled by your colleagues, but in any case, the practice in the House is that we've been doing 5 minutes. And in my experience, most people can make their point in 3 minutes. After that, they start repeating themselves. What's your point of order?
Please put the question, Madam Speaker. Put the question.
Okay, honorable members. Okay, I'll only entertain 2 points of orders. You are coming next, yeah.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And I tend to agree with Honorable Kamket. We need more time to interrogate this issue. The issue of the impeachment of the Deputy President is not a clandestine issue. It's an issue that we need to interrogate. Some of the members who voted for the impeachment may have had the privilege to have had the motion before. The ones who had put the signature, obviously they signed on the motion having maybe some insight into what was in the motion. So us who are in the dark, we ask for more time to interrogate and discuss this issue entirely. Thank you.
Honorable Farah, and then I shall put the question.
Mr. Speaker, for the benefit of the House, Mr. Speaker, protect me from all of them. For the benefit of the
Honorable
House.
members, let us listen to Honorable Farah.
For the benefit of the House, there was a procedural motion that preceded this procedural motion that said until the conclusion, which means we can go up to midnight. But then having 291 members of parliament, anything more than 5 minutes is not likely to give an opportunity to everybody. In any case, those of you who studied literature, whatever you cannot convey in 5 minutes, you'll not be able to convey in 5 hours. So, Madam Speaker, put the question. Put the question.
Like I said, honorable members, my experience is that you can say whatever you want to say in 3 minutes. Beyond 3 minutes, you're repeating yourself. So honorable members, allow me to put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 97-1, and notwithstanding the resolution of the House of February 14, 2024, this House orders that each speech in a debate on a special motion under Articles 145 and 150 of the Constitution shall be limited as follows. A maximum of 60 minutes for the mover in moving and 30 minutes in replying, and a maximum of 5 minutes each for any other member speaking except the leader of majority party, the leader of minority party, and the member seconding the motion, who shall be limited to a maximum of 10 minutes each, and that at least 2.5 hours before the vote is taken on the motion, the deputy president or the president, as the case may be, shall be accorded an opportunity to be heard in accordance with Standing Order 67B2. That's the right to be heard. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Yes, I think let's go to order number 11. And okay, your point of order, Leader of Majority. Then
Honorable Speaker, actually is a point of information emanating from something the Honorable Mwago has said, that the 291 members who signed the motion had interacted with the motion, and it is true. And the 50 or so who have not signed have not interacted. Just to inform the member for Starehe that we are indeed, the clerk's office is in the process now of translating the motion in Swahili, so that you may read and understand. The only language you may not be able to translate to is vernacular. But it will be both the motion and the questionnaire will be uploaded in Swahili. Therefore, it will be very easy for the member for Starehe now to read and understand the motion. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
What's your point of order, member for Starehe?
It's quite unfortunate that such a senior member in this House would take time to insinuate that I don't understand English. I understand that we went to alliance, but of relative interests has been putting alliance school into question, very wanting by the way you're conducting yourself. You are a very lacking member to be answering me, actually. Thank you.
Okay, honorable members, let's move to the next order. But member for Starehe, I think the assurance is that it needed to be translated in Kiswahili because those are the two official languages, and for the benefit of our constituents who will be reading it. But also, I think most importantly, you'll be able to find the motion at the table office, which means you can get a copy of it as soon as now, and then you can be able to read it. Let's go to the next order, order number 11. What is your point of clarification, member for Dagoretti?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Just to tell the member of Starehe, the motion was tabled yesterday. It is public. You just pick it and read it.
Thank you. Let's proceed to the next order, order number 11.
Order number 11, motion number 24 of 2023, policy and funding for sugarcane farming in the country. Question to be put.
Honorable members, I now put the question that aware that the commercial sugarcane production in Kenya was introduced in the early years of independence with an aim of eliminating dependence on sugar importation, and contributing to economic transformation in the belt and the country at large through agriculture, acknowledging that at its pinnacle, the sugar industry significantly contributed to the country's national gross domestic product and became one of the largest employers, which supported livelihoods of many Kenyans, both directly and indirectly. Concerned that over the last 25 years, sugarcane farming, particularly in Western Kenya, has been declining significantly, thereby dipping the sugar production from over 600,000 metric tons per year in the 1990s to less than 300,000 metric tons in the recent years. Noting that the decline in the sugarcane farming has forced local millers to operate far below their milling, I think he has now frozen, but he's doing it deliberately, I think, because he knows. Yeah, so noting that the decline in the sugarcane farming has forced local millers to operate far below their milling capacities and push the country to an over-reliance on net importation of sugar, which negatively impacts on the balance of trade, and noting that the decline in sugar production is attributable to the factors such as mismanagement, interference, and unfair competition from the cheap imported sugar. Further concerned that the state-owned sugar millers like Mumia Sugar Company and Zoya Sugar Company ceased milling while owing farmers hundreds of millions of shillings, and appreciating that the government has been putting in place strategies, policies, and regulations to define roles of millers and major players and stakeholders in the sugar industry in a bid to revamp the sector. Concerned that the acute shortage of sugarcane resulting from mass abandonment of sugarcane farming continues to roll back initiatives of reviving sugar milling. And recognizing that further investment in revamping sugar companies before reviving sugarcane farming would occasion loss of invested public funds instead of yielding success. Now, therefore, this House resolves that the national government, through the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, reviews the sugar development policies to provide that every investor miller sets aside definite funds for development of sugarcane farming, incentivizing farmers to embrace sugarcane growing and to enhance cane production in each of the respective zones. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. So we shall go back to order number 7.
Order number 7. Questions and statements.
I think we have a question by the Honorable Robert Gishumu, member for Gishugu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Actually, it's a request for statement. And it's a request for statement regarding the payment of tea bonuses for Kemunye and Thumaita tea factories for the financial year 2023-2024. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock regarding the payment of tea farmers' annual bonuses in the Kemunye and Thumaita tea factories for the financial year 2023-2024. Honorable Speaker, in mid-September 2024, the Board of Directors for Kemunye and Thumaita tea factories in Geshogo constituency declared the payment of bonuses for the period between 1st July 2023 and 30th June 2024. These factories, which fall under Zone 5 of the 2 tea-growing regions, were ultimately to pay at Kenya shillings 51 per kilogram and 46 per kilogram, respectively. The declaration, which fell lower than expected payments, has sparked mass demonstrations and a boycott of tea plucking by farmers who primarily depend on tea farming for their livelihoods. This situation poses a serious risk to the economic development in the region. Honorable Speaker, the Kenya Tea Development Agency National Chairman, Mr. Enos Jero, via a public announcement stating that the bonus would be at least 60 shillings per kilogram. The lower payments have thus led to widespread dissatisfaction and accusations of misleading information. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Agriculture, Livestock and to appraise the House on the following. 1, provide a detailed breakdown of the total gross tea bonus payments per kilogram of green tea leaves that should have been payable to farmers before deductions. 2, a clear explanation of the deductions made from the gross payments that resulted in the declared net pay for both Kemunye and Thumaita tea factories. 3, a clarification on amounts reserved or retained from farmers' payments for per kilogram of green tea leaf and the specific purposes of these reserves or retentions and whether they can be disbursed as part of additional payments to farmers beyond the declared net bonus. And finally, the basis on which the KTDA National Chairman, Mr. Enos Jeru, publicly declared that the bonus payment for the period would be at least 60 shillings per kilogram of green tea leaf. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, and this is a very, very urgent request for statement because the farmers in the two or under the two factories are still on the boycott. They are not plucking tea. So I request for an urgent response to this request for statement, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Okay, is the chairperson here for the Committee on Agriculture and Livestock Development? Okay, Honorable Brighton, you're going to speak. Give him the mic.
Okay, Madam Speaker, this matter by Honorable Kishumu is related to the two others that we had, there's two other statements that we had done before, and we request for 2 weeks so that we can be able to do a reply.
Right. Deputy Majority Leader, you'll ensure that it goes to the desk of the Agriculture Committee. Next, we have a statement by the Honorable Francis Sigei, member for Sotik.
Request for a statement regarding the status of construction of Cheborge Junction, Kibwastuya Road, and Sotik Silala Road. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure regarding the status on construction of Cheborge Junction, Kibwastuya Market Road, and Sotik Silalo Road. Honorable Speaker, on 8 May 2021, the Kenya Rural Roads Authority, KERA, awarded MSQ Construction Limited a contract to upgrade the Cheborge Junction, Kibwastuya Market Road, and the Sotik Silalo Road to bitumen standards for a contract of Kenya shillings 590,662,680 shillings. The project was initially scheduled to commence on 6th of July 2021, but commenced on 3rd of August 2021, with a completion date of 3rd March 2023. In addition, it is alleged that the contractor has been paid the full contract sum, yet the project remains incomplete. The excruciating delay in completion of upgrading of the road has severely impacted businesses in the area, with farmers facing challenges in transporting their produce to the markets. This has resulted in a substantial losses for families dependent on these businesses for their livelihoods. Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Transport and Infrastructure on the following. 1, challenges experienced by the project leading to prolonged delay in completing the upgrading of Cheborge Junction, Kibwastu Market Road, and Sotix Lala Road. 2, state whether the full contract sum for the project was paid to the contractor, and the justification for the payment despite the project being incomplete. 3, an update on when the contractor will resume the works and expected timelines for completion of road, considering that the Sotix Lala Road is impassable. And 4, the measures being taken by the ministry to ensure that value for the money is obtained with respect to the project without causing significant inconveniences to the locals, and alternative measures for the impassable section of the road. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I think that would be marked to the departmental committee, the Committee on Transport and Infrastructure. Is there a member here or the chairperson? Again, Deputy Majority Leader, I will leave that to you. Okay. All right. Okay, now let's go to answers to the questions that have been posed last week. So the Honorable Meli, Member for Tinderet, Chair of the Education Committee. You have a response for the Honorable Edith Nyenze, MP for Kitui West.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the Honorable Edith Nyenze, as per Standing Order 44.2c on 21st of August, requested for statement on the employment status of P1 teachers who upgraded their education with a view to being absorbed as junior secondary school teachers. Honorable Speaker, the issue raised by Honorable Nyenze is an issue of national concern to the teachers of this country, especially those who upgraded with the intention of going to implement as part of the retooling of the CBC. In response to that particular statement, Honorable Speaker, I did transmit the question to the concerned government agency, the Teacher Service Commission, who actually gave me the document that I have, and I will actually do, I'll skim through the document, Honorable Speaker. Thereafter, I'll hand it over to Honorable Nyenze to go through it, and if there are any further clarification, you will actually seek them later. The Teacher Service Commission responded as follows to the issues raised in the statement. That there's the report on the policy framework while TSC directed P1 teachers to upgrade their courses. This is a policy paper on why the Teacher Service Commission directed P1 teachers to upgrade. With the introduction of the competence-based curriculum, it became necessary for P1 teachers to be trained on the new pedagogical skills to enable them to effectively implement the new curriculum and disseminate knowledge to learners. The other policy is that, accordingly, the Commission did put in place an elaborate and comprehensive program for P1 teachers employed by the Commission to be retooled on the new pedagogical skills to upgrade them to effectively disseminate the knowledge. The other policy statement is that the Commission is aware that the policy direction by the Ministry of Education was based on the recommendation of the Fatuma Chege's task force on enhancing access, relevance, training, equity, and quality for effective curriculum reforms and implementation 2020. The report of the Presidential Working Party 2023 that recommended that Ministry of Education ensures that all teachers who graduated before 2023 undergo mandatory one-year retooling and upgrading program to align with the new curriculum. This upgrading is essential to teachers to acquire proficiency in CBC implementation. That is actually the policy behind telling the teachers to go. Number two, a timeline when the preferred teachers, question two was, she asked that a timeline of when the referred teachers will receive certificates for the diploma courses they pursued. That's the question asked by Honorable Member. Noting the upgrading program for P1 teachers who are not yet employed by the Commission, the timelines may be provided by the Ministry of Education, who coordinated the program. Madam Speaker, the providers of the diploma training, and I think this is where the teaching and training of the teachers took place, was in the primary teachers training colleges, which the Teacher Service Commission indicated here is actually the preserve of the Ministry of Education. In so doing, I also went ahead and asked the ministry to really give us, and that is something which I did as a chair, to give us the timelines under which these certificates are supposed to be issued. And I think that is a supplementary question which the Ministry of Education needs to give on this. On question 3, she sought an explanation as to why the Commission is here to prioritize and consider P1 teachers whom it advised to augment their education for purposes of absorption as JSS teachers. The Teacher Service Commission indicated on that question that in the wake of CBC, it became pertinent for P1 teachers to be retooled on the new pedagogical skills to enable them to effectively implement the new curriculum. Accordingly, the purpose of retooling the P1 teachers was to effectively equip them to better teach CBC at the primary level and not at the JSS level. That is, the P1 is supposed to teach the CBC in grade 1 to grade 6, not at the JSS. Number 7, to this end, the course content of the upgrade in Diploma Primary Education Program is designed specifically for primary education to improve quality teaching and in the primary. Additionally, the career pathway for teachers teaching at JSS is that of secondary school teacher, distinct from P1 teacher at the primary school level. Hence, the upgrade was not intended as a pathway for P1 teachers to be absorbed into JSS. The fourth question was the steps taken by the Commission, or what steps has the Commission taken to ensure that P1 teachers who upgraded their education are absorbed in the rightful job grades. Honorable Speaker, this is a question which is asked by every teacher who was upgraded, even in my constituency and even in the country at large. Teachers are asking, we have been retooled. We are no longer the P1 certificate. We have gotten a diploma. The Teacher Service Commission has made the following statement, that the upgrade in Diploma Primary Education Program is meant to equip P1 teachers with the required pedagogical skills to implement CBC at the primary school level. These teachers, once employed, are posted to public primary schools. In view of the upgrading program and the ongoing certification by NEC, the Commission will commence the review of its career progression guidelines for purposes of grading such teachers. Actually, this particular statement, Madam Speaker, is actually not indicating when these people will be paid for the opportunities forgone. So it has actually said that they are going to look at the career progression guidelines for purposes of grading for the upgrading of the teachers. This is the statement, and I've just gone through it. The whole statement is actually bulky, and it has indicated every other aspect that Honorable Nyense has asked. I thank you, Madam Speaker, and I shall actually be able to hand over the statement to Honorable Nyense. Thank you. I submit.
Thank you. Honorable Nyense, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Actually, thank you for the answers, but the response is not satisfactory. And this is because the commission actually identifies the teachers to augment their education, and by doing so, they were supposed to take 1,500 hours, which is roughly 9 months. They went for that training. They actually paid some money, that is tuition fee, and also spent a lot of time leaving their families. But after that, they were not considered in any way. Those ones who were already P1 teachers were not promoted, and they were not given any advantage even after getting the diploma. The other teachers, P1 teachers, are still being retooled even now, but after they go for that training, they are reimbursed, and they have the advantage of not spending so much resources on the training which they are undergoing. So these teachers feel that it's like they have been forgotten. Those ones who got the diploma and we are already P1 teachers, we are not taken to teach in the junior secondary, even though the response says that they were being trained to be in primary school section, the CBC, but still we don't have adequate teachers in the JS. You have our O class, you are given an O class, maybe you are trained as a mathematics teacher, and you are supposed to even teach history, you are supposed to teach CRI in that class. So there's still, this education is still wanting as far as junior secondary is concerned. And the commission, the reason why they came up with this diploma course was that these teachers were supposed to teach in the junior secondary after being upgraded. The other disadvantage is some of them who were not employed went for that training, spend more money, thinking that they will be observed in the teaching service, in the teacher service commission. But they've not been employed even after getting the diploma. So the response is not satisfactory at all to those ones who are upgraded, because they have no advantage over the others. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I don't know if you have a response, Honorable Meli. Maybe you can clarify for her.
Yes, I want to agree with the Honorable Nyenze, especially in education, Madam Speaker, we have what we call opportunities for gone. And if actually the Teacher Service Commission directed that the teachers go and upgrade, they got a diploma certificate, and now they are back, and there is no advantage gain. Yet they have gotten the skills, they have gotten the pedagogical, and the know-how. I think they really deserve some salary increase to show that you've taken 15 hours, you paid for the tuition, and all this. And that's something we need to pursue, even as a chair of education and as a committee of education. We really need to pursue that, so that at least these teachers are compensated adequately for the acquisition of the new skills, and similarly for the time they have taken for training, and they are now better teachers than those who have not gone in there. I think you have a point, Madam Honorable Nyenze, and I think, Madam Speaker, I will really pursue that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now let's proceed to the answers by the Chair for the Committee on Health, Honorable Pukose. Or has he nominated somebody to answer to the question by Honorable Rehab Mokami, member for Nyeri County? I thought I'd seen Honorable Pukose here. And then there's also another second question to be answered by the chairperson of the Committee on Health, Honorable Pukose, which was sought by Honorable John Mukunji, member for Manyata. Did Honorable Pukose assign anyone? Okay, I think we'll pass those two and then move them to another time. So we can move to the next order.
Order number 12, motion number 28 of 2023, establishment of a science museum.
Honorable John Kiaria.
Madam Speaker, I really thank you. And I want to move this motion that aware that Article 11.2b of the Constitution provides that the government shall recognize the role of science and indigenous technologies in the development of the nation, and further aware that the Vision 2030 provides for the integration of information, communication, and technology in the country's transformative agenda, and concerned that there exists no science museum for the consolidation consolidating indigenous scientific and technological innovations, training and research purposes in all of the East African region, and appreciating that the integration of science and technology would greatly enhance Kenya's economic and societal success, and noting that there is potential growth in the technology sector by establishing a science museum, and further noting that the informal science education plays a key role in progression of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, acknowledging that science museum operate as the nexus between science practitioners, policymakers, and the public, and cognizant of the fact that a science museum in the country would greatly impact on the economy of the country in the quest to become an industrialized nation. Now, therefore, this House resolves that the national government, through the relevant ministries, establishes and operationalizes a science museum in the country. Madam Speaker, I am standing on the floor of this House in the year 2024 and asking this House to agree with me that we should urge the government to establish a science museum in Kenya, and this will not be just the first science museum in East Africa. It will be the first and only science museum in all of Africa. Madam Speaker, a science museum becomes something important for a nation like us that has espoused in its guiding documents, starting with the Vision 2030, Madam Speaker, which says that we endeavor to be a knowledge-based economy. Madam Speaker, it is also this country that has developed the Kenya Digital Superhighway Project, an aspiration of Kenyans to be connected to technology of today. When we talk of technology of today, Madam Speaker, we are talking at a time when we are talking of the onset of the fourth industrial revolution, also being called the era that shall be driven by artificial intelligence. Madam Speaker, we are seeing technologies like blockchain technology, the Internet of Things. All these advancements in technology are telling us that we're in a new era. But even in this new era, Madam Speaker, we ought to speak as Kenyans and speak as Africans and ask ourselves, if this is the fourth industrial revolution, where was Kenya in the third industrial revolution? Where was Kenya in the second industrial revolution? Where was Kenya in the first industrial revolution? Where was Africa when the world was moving into steam energy and mechanizing their operations? Where was Africa when the world adopted electricity as a way and a mode of driving their technology? Where was Africa when we were moving into microchips in what was called the dot-com era or the third industrial revolution? And I dare say that Africa slept through all those previous three revolutions. The question begs, are we the generation of parliamentarians that will superintend over Africa sleeping through the fourth industrial revolution? Madam Speaker, today the world is advancing using what I would call the Western model of development. The Western model of development is informed mostly by the advancements that have been introduced to the world by the British Empire, when they were able to conquer the world to a point where it was said that the sun never sets on the British Empire. These British are the ones who have introduced this new model of advancement that we are in today, Madam Speaker. But if you approach the British, they would tell you that before they came into their advancements, they were referred to as barbarians. If you ask the British, who is that person who came and advanced you? They will tell you that all the knowledge we have, we got it from the Romans. You will approach the Romans and you shall ask the Romans, where did you get the knowledge that you pride yourself in? And the Romans will tell you, all the knowledge that we have, we got it from the Greek. But Madam Speaker, our education system will only teach us only that far. If you seek further than that, Madam Speaker, you shall find that the Greek got all the knowledge that they have from Africa, Madam Speaker. That those people that we celebrate, those people that we call the Pythagoras and the boys, Aristotle, Socrates, and all these very famous people who are said to be the fathers of the disciplines of knowledge that we practice today, the fathers of psychology, the fathers of philosophy, the fathers of chemistry, the fathers of all these advancements that we talk about in education today, if they were honest to you, they will tell you that they came to Africa and found very advanced universities. In North Africa, we know of the universities that were in Egypt. In West Africa, we know of the great advancements and civilizations and libraries that were in Mali. Where we are, Madam Speaker, around the Habesha region, also known as Abyssinia, but actually the Kush kingdoms, we had our own technological advancements, our own advanced technology that would shock the world, Madam Speaker. If you go south, you will find advanced, very extremely advanced.
What's your point of order? He's still moving his motion.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I want to inform my colleague, who is my good friend, about the Greek philosophers, the Aristotle, the Plato. Majority of them, they never went to Africa, but we acknowledge Pythagoras' theorem came from Egypt. So it is good for my brother, good friend of mine, to learn it. And most of these philosophers, they never visited Africa before Athens moved towards democracy. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'm sure you're so informed. You may proceed.
Madam Speaker, that is a point of argument, and I wish that the Honorable CNN would wait for me to move the motion so that he can bring up this argument. But if you are patient enough, I will take him to class and let him know that I am speaking from a point of fact, that all this advancement that we call the Greek foundational knowledge was actually stolen, pilfered, borrowed from Africa. Madam Speaker, there is a great city in North Africa called Alexandria. And Alexandria celebrates a man known as Alexander the Great. This man is known worldwide as a great general of war. The story we are never told is that when Alexander and his soldiers came into Africa, they went into our very advanced libraries and universities. But they were not kind enough, Madam Speaker. When they pilfered what was in our libraries, they burnt down our libraries to the ground, raised down all the knowledge, stole it, pilfered it, and took it to Europe and claimed it to be their own knowledge. And that is the knowledge that they have put in books. And today, we celebrate the Greeks as the foundational fathers of the knowledge that we have. But I would like to let the Honorable CNN know that this knowledge, as a matter of fact, dig deeper into your reading, and you shall find that this knowledge was actually stolen from Africa. Madam Speaker, this would help in explaining why we have such advanced technology in places like Cairo, where and Egypt, where we have what you would call the pyramids, Madam Speaker. People see pyramids just as structural formations, but I would like to say that even today, with all the advanced Western knowledge that we have, the scientists are not able to explain how the traditional African was able to put up such technological marvels as the pyramids. Pyramids that are aligned astronomically and astrologically, scientifically perfect, aligned to pyramids that are in South America, pyramids that are in the East, all scientifically aligned to a scientific exactitude that cannot be achieved even by the knowledge and scientific advancements that we have today. But most importantly, Madam Speaker, I was talking about the fact that Africa has not always been a technological dwarf. At some point in its moments of greatness, Africa was a scientific and technological giant. The misconceptions that Africa is a scientific dwarf emanate from the fact that, one, all of African traditional knowledge, all of African traditional heritage has not been put to books. It has not been recorded in words and figures. And as such, people who are reading science today only understand what was captured in books, in numeracy, in literacy. But they may never understand some of the oral traditional African knowledge that used to be preserved and transitioned to other generations orally. That is why, Madam Speaker, the African today suffers an inferiority complex. Africans, like CNN, may never know that it was Africans that civilized Europe into hygiene, Madam Speaker. That between the years of 700 to around 1400, Madam Speaker, it is emperors who came from Africa, went into Europe, conquered Europe, civilized Europe from its barbaric ways, and taught them how to use toilets, Madam Speaker. Europeans who are busy defecating in the streets and so on, Madam Speaker. And allow me, Madam Speaker, to prosecute this issue because it is a historical fact that the Black Moors were the emperors who ruled Europe between the years of 700 something AD and 1400 AD. Madam Speaker, the point I want to make is that the absence of the recording of our history, for us not being able to record our history, for us not being able to exhibit our history, for us not being able to preserve our technological advancements, we suffer the risk of misunderstanding our history because we shall only be served that which maybe the oppressor would want for us to know. However, Madam Speaker, we ought to understand that if you do not tell your story the way you want your story to be told, your story shall be told by somebody else in the way they want to tell it. So, Madam Speaker,
so
my motion...
Out of order? Your hand is up. But I can see your hand is up, but I'm not able... I can hear you saying point of order, but I cannot see you anywhere on the screen. Do you have your card? The card is not working. Okay, it's working now. So what is out of order?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My concern is Honorable Kerry is bringing out very valid points. However, for him to use statements like Africans, like CNN, will never understand, will never know, that puts all of us to be in a point of ignorance that we do not know, except for Honorable Kerry. Can he use more dignified language towards Africans, where I'm one of them?
Madam Speaker, valid point.
I do not want to defend you. I know that you have a lot of respect for Africans, but I don't want to defend you. So,
Madam Speaker, you got it perfectly. In fact, I celebrate Africans. That's why I'm moving this motion. And in fact, I would not want to generalize anybody into a point of ignorance because I know how well informed Africans are, up to and including my good friend CNN. I was making a reference to the fact that if one does not tell their story the way they want to tell their story might be told by somebody else in a way that you do not want to tell the story. Madam Speaker, I am moving a motion where I would want this parliament to support me so that we can establish a science museum that will create a nexus between scientists, scientific practitioners, policy makers, students, and the publics, different publics, so that we are able to preserve our technological advancements in a museum that is a living museum. Madam Speaker, it might be a point of argument that we already have museums, Madam Speaker. But the kind of museum I'm talking about is not a museum of natural history. A museum of natural history, as they exist today, is a museum that I would refer to as a dead museum. And with all respect, Madam Speaker, dead in the fact that in these museums, we go to see exhibitions of taxidermies or stuffed animals that are already dead. We go to see things of the past. A science museum is normally a museum that exhibits, is a living museum. It is able to cover the history of technological advancements from the past, taking into cognizance what is happening in the present, and also trying to imagine a future as we would want to imagine it, Madam Speaker. In Kenya today, where we are at, if you took just one line of science, a line that I know the Honorable Elisha knows very well, a line of telecommunication, for example, only quarter of a century ago, Madam Speaker, the order of the day was the dial telephone. The order of the day was a call box. But the child born today, a Gen Z, a Gen Alpha, cannot tell you what a call box is. They cannot tell you what a CD-ROM is. They cannot tell you what a floppy drive is. This is knowledge that will be lost, Madam Speaker. This is knowledge that if we do not preserve, we might suffer the fate that our forefathers suffered when traditional historical artifacts were being expatriated from this continent and being exhibited in far-flung capitals. As we speak today, Madam Speaker, it is common knowledge that we've got tons and tons of traditional